Soul Land 2, Episode 116. How strong is the Reaper Duluo? He killed 200 soul saints with a single blow, making his subordinates tremble in fear and exclaim that not even a limit Duluo could stop him. The story continues from where we left off. The Sun-Moon Empire suddenly launched a war against the Star-Luo Empire, and the border was breached. The White Tiger Duke was surrounded by the enemy. At this point, Dai Hao still had 2,000 soldiers left under his command, including himself. There were a total of 4 titled Duluo. Some of these soldiers were his White Tiger Guards, while the other part was the First Soul Master Legion. Under the fierce attack of the enemy's soul tools, the Duluo experts were also on the verge of being unable to resist. The crisis was imminent. In order to allow everyone to break out, Dai Hao handed Dai Yao Heng over to the 3 titled Duluo to be taken away. He himself led the remaining White Tiger Guards to continue the retreat, drawing the enemy's fire. Seeing that the First Soul Master Legion had already withdrawn, 9 spirit rings rose from Dai Hao's body in the next instant. His aura soared to its peak as he prepared for a desperate fight. Seeing this, Ye Yulin infused a large amount of spirit power into the Sun-Moon Divine Needles. He had only one goal: to kill Dai Hao. Once the White Tiger Duke was dead, the Western defenses would be rendered useless. Even if he couldn't be killed, it wouldn't affect the overall situation. In his view, the 3 original nations of the continent had long been made obsolete by the times. The power of the soul tools in this war had already made everything clear. Just as both sides were on edge, a crimson gold vertical eye suddenly appeared without any warning. The moment it appeared, all the soul tool rays were distorted and deflected. Rings of light slowly spread out. At this moment, a voice appeared in the White Tiger Duke's mind. "Why haven't you executed your plan yet? What are you waiting for?" With a jolt in his heart, Dai Hao immediately led his troops to retreat. The Soul Masters with Ye Yulin also heard that mysterious voice. "I come from the state religion. The pontiff sent me to assist you. The people below will be immobilized by my secret technique. Attack with all your might. Destroy them." This terrifyingly powerful spiritual force impressed even Ye Yulin. He didn't doubt the authenticity of this voice at all. The next moment, countless soul tool rays rained down, madly, and a storm of blood and gore immediately erupted below. But not long after, Ye Yulin realized something was wrong. When he finally reacted, he realized that it was an illusion created by the enemy. The enemies below had long since fled. Not a single body was left. Ye Yulin was furious. He took the lead and chased after them. On the other side, directly in front of Dai Hao's retreating troops, 12 pitch-black gates appeared. It was Huo Yu Hao, who had summoned the Gate of the Undead Plane with all his might. He told Dai Hao and the others that if they didn't want to die, they should enter the gate. The White Tiger Guards wished their parents had given them 2 more legs. They all ran at their fastest speed and rushed into the gate. But the White Tiger Duke Dai Hao did not leave, because before everyone could retreat, they would inevitably enter the range of the enemy's soul tools. At this moment, Huo Yu Hao transformed into a man in black, standing shoulder to shoulder with Dai Hao. He naturally had great admiration for Dai Hao's noble character. Before long, the Starry Sky Duluo Ye Yulin was the first to arrive. Huo Yu Hao and Dai Hao engaged in a great battle with him. During this time, they constantly used spiritual power to harass the enemy. In the end, he took away both of the opponent's Sun-Moon Divine Needles and safely evacuated with Dai Hao. After arriving at a remote place, Huo Yu Hao then released the White Tiger Guards. In order to repay this mysterious benefactor, Dai Hao swore that he would obey any request in the future. After Huo Yu Hao agreed, he left in a hurry. For the people of the Star-Luo Empire, this was not a good day. The news that the western defenses had been breached spread throughout the entire continent, leaving the Star Luo imperial family extremely shocked. They quickly mobilized a large army and requested aid from the Dao Ling and Heaven Soul empires. The Sun-Moon Empire's offensive came swiftly, and their army's combat effectiveness, bolstered by Soul Master divisions and Soul tools, far exceeded the predictions of the three nations, giving them an almost crushing advantage. On the second day after the Sun-Moon Empire launched the war, within the territory of the Heaven Soul Empire, the Body Sect led a group of powerful Soul Masters in a surprise attack. However, they were met with a full-scale counterattack from the Holy Ghost cult and ultimately returned without success. For a time, the entire continent was in turmoil. Just as a great war of survival and destruction was about to unfold, Huo Yuhao also returned to Bright Capital City. In the following days, the Sun-Moon Empire did not launch another attack. Instead, they turned the Mingdo mountain range into a defensive fortress. The Star Luo Empire also held back from a counterattack, waiting for the Heaven Soul and Douling armies to arrive as reinforcements. It seemed that the situation had stabilized, with the belief that in at most 10 days after the armies were assembled, it would not be so easy for the Sun-Moon Empire to attack again. But Huo Yuhao always felt that something was wrong. During this time, under his guidance, his younger brother Dai Luoli had touched the threshold of the 4-ring level. One evening, while the two were chatting, Huo Yuhao was suddenly struck by Dai Luoli's words. Dai Luoli said resentfully, "Those guys have completely blocked our reconnaissance. We have no news at all regarding the situation at the border. Those guys are elusive. I don't know what they're up to." Hearing this, Huo Yuhao's body suddenly trembled. "Elusive? Blocked reconnaissance?" he said. "Could it be that there's a conspiracy here?" With that, he no longer planned to hide his identity from Dai Luoli. He directly revealed their blood relationship and displayed the unique dual pupils of the White Tiger lineage. Only then did Dai Luoli realize that Huo Yuhao was his older brother. Afterward, he took Dai Luoli to an altitude of 3,000 meters and slowly approached the Mingdo mountain range. Huo Yuhao opened the Eye of Destiny to conduct a spiritual scan. After the scan, his face instantly turned pale. It turned out that on the Mingdo mountain range, there were only a large number of defensive soul tool fortresses. The Sun-Moon Empire army was nowhere to be seen. Now, Huo Yuhao had guessed the Sun-Moon Empire's objective. Their real target isn't the Star Luo Empire, it's the Heaven Soul Empire. 10,000 years ago, the Duluo continent only had two empires, Heaven Du and Star Luo. As time went on, the Heaven Dao Empire split into the Heaven Soul and Douling empires. In terms of foundation, they can't compare to the long-established Star Luo Empire. They are picking the weakest target. The Sun-Moon Empire launched an offensive against Star Luo to attract the entire continent's attention. This way, some of the reinforcements from the Heaven Soul and Douling empires would be deployed there. Once the reinforcements arrive, the Sun-Moon Empire will reveal its true intentions and strike directly at the Heaven Soul Empire. Dai Luoli gasped. He naturally understood. He hesitated and said, "Brother, is it possible that your guess is wrong? The Sun-Moon Empire might not have such a plan at all. They might not even be thinking of launching an all-out war." Huo Yuhao snorted coldly upon hearing this, bluntly calling Dai Luoli naive. In war, you must always prepare for the worst. He told Dai Luoli to relay these speculations to Dai Hao, who would naturally know what to do. The next day, it was just as Huo Yuhao had predicted. The Star Luo Empire's army poured out. Among them, the 8 Soul Master legions led by Shu Jiujiu had already reached the front lines. Huo Yuhao came to the edge of the battlefield and scanned the area. At that moment, thousands of Soul Masters and Soul Engineers were clashing. On the Mingdo mountain range, over 3,000 firing points were constantly spewing cannon fire, making it like a giant hedgehog that wouldn't let anyone get close. In this battle, the Star Luo Empire had dispatched 5,000 soul masters. Among them, 500 soul sage experts were absorbing the enemy's cannon fire. The two sides were locked in a stalemate, with no clear winner. The main army behind them was also gradually pressing towards the border. Once the soul masters on the front line could breach the Mingdo defense, the hundreds of thousands of Star Luo troops could march straight in, directly into the Sun Moon Empire's territory, to relieve the pressure on the Heaven Soul Empire. Before long, the Sun Moon Soul Engineers' cannon fire weakened, and they were forced back. It seemed that the Star Luo Soul Masters had gained the upper hand. They pushed forward again as the enemy retreated again. Suddenly, Huo Yuhao felt a sense of foreboding. Before he could think too much, he let out a muffled groan and his body suddenly fell. An indescribable sense of fear spread through his entire body. His extended spiritual detection was instantly shattered. He had only felt that world-destroying aura once before, when the beast god Di Tian, at all costs, was preparing to destroy Shrek. However, Di Tian's power was never ultimately released. The next instant, a ferocious white light shot down from the highest peak of Mingdo without any warning. The white light was as thick as a water tank, a ghastly white color. As soon as it appeared, it transformed into a kilometers-long beam of light that swept across the battlefield. In that instant, time froze, and space was torn apart. It was so fast that no one could react in time. The high-level soul masters who were suppressing the enemy were much more densely packed than before, and this white light just swept over the crowd. Wherever the white light passed, all life turned to nothingness, vanishing into thin air as if wiped away by a cloth. In this single strike, over 200 soul sage experts fell on the front lines. The Sun Moon Empire's soul engineers once again launched a fierce counterattack. Without a doubt, the Star Luo Empire had been lured into a trap. Soon the front line collapsed, and the Star Luo army retreated in a panic. Huo Yuhao's mouth hung open, the fear in his heart continuing to swell. When that white light swept past, he felt he could not have survived it. He was only spared because the white light hadn't swept in his direction. Otherwise, he wouldn't even have had time to think before leaving this world forever. After the brief terror, Huo Yuhao regained his ability to think. He already knew what that ghastly white light was. His teacher, Xuan Ziwen, had once told him that the Sun Moon Empire has several of the most powerful soul engineers. Among them, Ye Yulin's overall strength only ranked third. The two soul engineers, ranked above Ye Yulin, were so revered that even Ye Yulin had to greet them respectfully, addressing them as elders. One of these soul engineers was over 180 years old. This great power was known as the person closest to a Class 10 soul engineer. In the hearts of soul engineers, he was the person closest to a god. This soul engineer spent 32 years to complete the most powerful soul tool of the current era, named Death God. When the Death God appears, the sun and moon lose their light. It has only one function, to release a beam of the Death God's light, which can strike the sky or the ground within 5 kilometers. Huo Yuhao didn't know if a limit dolo could block this attack, which was close to a Class 10 Soul Tool's strike. But if the power of fate hadn't protected him just now, his spiritual sea would have been shattered. Huo Yuhao marveled to himself, the continent's #1 soul tool. Its reputation is truly well-deserved. He never expected that the Sun Moon Empire would actually bring out the death god Doluo and have him stationed on the Mingdo mountain range. Too terrifying. This is simply too terrifying, Huo Yuhao said, still shaken. The Sun Moon Empire has the support of the Holy Ghost cult, plus Long Xiaoyao and the Class 10 Soul Engineer. Huo Yuhao couldn't imagine the future of the 3 Dulo nations. but he knew he could no longer continue being a common soldier. Even though he really liked the feeling of being in the army, the continent's safety was far more important than his own wishes. Therefore, Huo Yuhao decided to return to Shrek immediately. The sea god's pavilion would decide what to do about the situation here. With a single thought, Huo Yuhao sped off into the distance. Okay, that's all the content for this video. If you enjoyed it, please don't hesitate to like, share, and subscribe. After all, your support is my motivation to keep creating content. I'm Huo Yuhao. See you in the next video.